For decades, the search for life saving medicine resembled a blindfolded walk through an infinite and unforgiving labyrinth. Scientists relied heavily on serendipity, painstakingly extracting and testing thousands of natural compounds in physical laboratories, hoping to stumble upon a single viable candidate. This analog process meant that discovering a new drug was an excruciatingly slow marathon of trial and error, heavily dependent on human intuition, brute force, and sheer luck. The human and financial toll of this traditional methodology was absolutely staggering, creating a massive bottleneck in global healthcare. Bringing a single successful therapy from the laboratory bench to the commercial market routinely consumed well over a decade of relentless research and cost, upwards of $2.6 billion. For patients suffering from aggressive cancers or rapidly deteriorating rare diseases, this sluggish timeline was not just an economic inefficiency, it was a literal death sentence. That grim reality shattered when artificial intelligence forcefully entered the pharmaceutical industry, completely rewriting the rules of chemical engineering. Within the last 18 months, the intersection of massive computational power and advanced neural networks has triggered an unprecedented paradigm shift. We are no longer merely discovering drugs by chance through endless physical screening. We are actively engineering them using the bleeding edge of machine learning and predictive modeling. To truly grasp the magnitude of this revolution, we must first look at the foundational architecture of life itself. Proteins govern almost every critical function in the human body, and their behavior is dictated entirely by their complex, three-dimensional shapes. When these microscopic structures misfold or mutate, they become the root cause of countless devastating conditions, from early onset Alzheimer's disease to the most aggressive and untreatable forms of cancer. Cracking the code of how a simple, one dimensional sequence of amino acids folds into these intricate and highly specific structures was long considered biology's greatest unsolved puzzle. Deciphering this physical geometry meant unlocking the ultimate biological source code, granting scientists the theoretical ability to target and neutralize the specific mechanisms of disease at a microscopic, foundational level. Advanced predictive AI models achieved exactly that, mapping the structures of hundreds of millions of proteins with astonishing and unprecedented accuracy. By analyzing vast, historically accumulated data sets of known biological structures, deep learning algorithms successfully learned the underlying physical rules of protein folding. This monumental computational achievement provided the global scientific community with a nearly complete, highly detailed atlas of the entire human proteome. With this comprehensive biological map finally in hand, researchers could suddenly visualize the exact shape of a disease's molecular locks without spending years on physical crystallography. Armed with these precise digital blueprints, the fundamental challenge of modern medicine immediately shifted. The goal was no longer merely understanding the biological target, but fabricating the perfect, highly specific chemical key to fit seamlessly into it. This precise moment is where generative AI transitioned from creating digital art and conversational text to performing highly complex molecular design. The exact same underlying transformer architecture that powers today's large language models was ingeniously adapted to speak the complex language of chemistry. Instead of calculating the probability of the next word in a sentence, these specialized models predict the optimal placement of the next atom in a chemical sequence. Diffusion models, originally designed to generate photorealistic images from static digital noise, are now generating entirely new functional molecules completely from scratch. Scientists input the desired properties of a drug, such as its ability to bind tightly to a specific cancer protein while strictly ignoring healthy cells, and the AI hallucinates thousands of viable chemical structures that have never previously existed in nature. Yet imagining a theoretically perfect molecule on a computer screen represents only half of the grueling battle. The strict laws of physical chemistry dictate that not every AI-generated compound can be easily, safely, or affordably synthesized in a real-world physical laboratory. The algorithm might design a flawless, highly effective cure that remains chemically impossible to manufacture at the immense scale required for global distribution. To effectively bridge this frustrating gap between digital imagination and physical reality, cutting edge robotics and fully automated wet labs are being rapidly deployed. These advanced robotic systems take the AI generated chemical blueprints and autonomously run thousands of simultaneous chemical reactions, rapidly synthesizing and testing the physical properties of these new medicines in real time without direct human intervention. Driving this massive automated feedback loop requires an unprecedented and highly specialized scale of compute infrastructure. Training these immense biological foundation models demands massive, energy intensive clusters of specialized graphics processing units, constantly crunching through petabytes of raw genomic data, vast chemical libraries, and decades of historical clinical trial results to refine their predictive accuracy. This heavy reliance on massive computational power is fundamentally shifting the center of gravity in modern medical research. The cutting edge laboratory of the immediate future is becoming significantly less about physical test tubes, microscopes, and petri dishes, and increasingly reliant on massive server farms, algorithmic efficiency, and advanced data processing capabilities operating entirely in the digital realm. This rapid digital transformation has sparked massive industry wide disruption across the traditional pharmaceutical landscape. Agile, highly specialized AI startups are suddenly outpacing legacy medical giants, forcing multi billion dollar partnerships designed to combine historical biological data with bleeding edge algorithmic prowess in a desperate, high stakes race for market dominance. This rapid consolidation of biological data and compute infrastructure raises profound and immediate ethical questions. If the ability to cure deadly diseases becomes entirely bottlenecked by access to proprietary AI models and immense processing power, we risk creating a deeply divided future where life saving innovations are monopolized by a handful of powerful tech conglomerates. Moving far beyond initial discovery, artificial intelligence is now being deployed to predict the hidden long term dangers of these newly synthesized compounds. Deep learning models are actively simulating how a newly designed drug will interact with the entire complex ecosystem of the human body, catching subtle toxicities and cascading side effects that human doctors might completely miss during early evaluations. This immense predictive power introduces the persistent and highly problematic black box problem inherent to complex neural networks. Regulatory agencies require transparent, easily explainable science, making it incredibly difficult to approve a novel drug when even its brilliant creators cannot fully articulate the intricate mathematical reasoning behind the AI's safety predictions and biological modeling. Despite these significant regulatory hurdles and the strict demand for transparency, the very first wave of therapies designed entirely by artificial intelligence is already entering human clinical trials right now. We are currently witnessing AI generated treatments for chronic inflammatory conditions and rare genetic disorders being actively administered to living patients, marking a historical milestone in the evolution of modern medicine. The long term economic and human implications of these successful accelerated trials are absolutely staggering. By effectively bypassing years of blind physical testing and dead end research, artificial intelligence is aggressively compressing the traditional 10-year drug development timeline down to mere months, fundamentally altering the underlying economics of global healthcare and saving billions in wasted capital. We are now witnessing the rapid emergence of true foundation models built specifically for biology. These massive biological large language models are being continuously trained on highly complex multimodal data, seamlessly integrating raw genomic sequences, high resolution cellular imagery, and comprehensive patient histories to understand human health holistically rather than treating isolated symptoms. Explaining the profound impact of this holistic, data driven understanding reveals a massive new frontier for treating incredibly rare diseases. Conditions that tragically afflict only a few thousand people globally were once considered entirely economically unviable for traditional drug development, but AI drastically lowers the baseline cost of discovery, making highly targeted cures financially possible for the first time in history. As we accelerate rapidly toward this unprecedented era of hyper personalized medicine, ensuring equitable global access becomes paramount. The stunning technological triumph of designing a bespoke, highly effective drug for a single patient's unique genetic makeup will be rendered ultimately meaningless if only the ultra wealthy can afford the immense computational cost of its creation and synthesis. To further refine and perfect these personalized treatments, researchers are now actively utilizing advanced reinforcement learning to optimize drug delivery mechanisms. Algorithms are autonomously designing microscopic lipid nanoparticles that act as highly intelligent transport vehicles, navigating the complex human bloodstream to deliver fragile genetic payloads directly to diseased cells without damaging surrounding healthy tissue. This incredible convergence of generative molecular design, highly predictive biology, and intelligent targeted delivery systems represents a permanent and irreversible transformation of human health. We are rapidly crossing a critical threshold where complex disease is no longer viewed as an insurmountable force of nature, but rather as a highly complex engineering problem waiting to be solved by intelligent machines. The long, painful era of serendipitous medical discovery has officially ended, replaced by an age of precise, algorithmic certainty. As artificial intelligence continues to ruthlessly decode the fundamental language of biology, the pharmaceutical industry will never look the same, promising a rapidly approaching future where the exact cure humanity needs is designed the very moment it is required.